Hello and welcome back to another gaming episode. We are back with a little bit of islands and trains here today, and I am wanting to expand. So we are starting off with heading over to another side of the water so I can make a bigger island, and that I'm going to use to kind of be the main island, the main town. So we'll kind of play around with it, but first we need to build the island out a little bit and then build the train track around it and start our little train before we get into town mode, which is really fun as well. So that's what I'm starting off with today. And yeah, hi, hello. In my time, which of course I pre-recorded some of these that I'm posting throughout this month because I knew I wanted to launch at the beginning of February, but I wanted to also make sure I had kind of a streamlined sort of editing system. I've never edited like gameplay and stuff like that. And yeah, so I obviously did pre-record some, but as of today that I'm recording this voiceover right now, I have officially launched. So that feels really crazy and daunting and fun. I'm just really excited. My little game is getting out there into the world. So, yeah, that's kind of the energy I'm at. It's just the 1st of February now, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens and enjoying this a lot so far. So, yeah, I'm not really sure, like, in my head, whenever I first started doing this, I was like, this is just going to be completely fun channel. Like, I'm not going to get into any crazy meta stuff about life and like I'm a huge thinker. I'm a Pisces. I'm in dreamland a lot. I'm thinking all the time, about art and creativity and the meaning of life and just a lot of stuff. And anytime I try to start a project where I feel like I specifically need to contain myself in some way, like, oh, I can only talk about this subject, I can only, have a writing blog that's just about writing, I can only, whenever I try to contain my multitudes in that way, it just doesn't work out. I just don't really care. I don't like that. And so coming here, even just thinking like, oh, I'm just going to like talk about this and that, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can change my mind. Um, I'm still finding my footing. I'm still figuring it out. But I think part of that comes down to something that I kind of had a realization about this morning. So I'm taking February and I'm working on kind of implementing just a few daily tasks in February that really ground me specifically and make it to where I'm not reaching outside of myself. Something that I had recognized, a pattern that I have with creativity in January, is that I tend to reach a lot. I tend to want to be over here. I want to be a monetized YouTuber. I want to be an author. I want, like, and it's interesting too, the difference that I feel about those things. Like, because being an author, published author, I guess, it's obviously very far away. Even though my first draft here is at like 50,000 words, I know deep down that I'm not going to get published overnight. Like, that's just not going to happen overnight. So I'm not actually really thinking about it all that much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just waking up and putting in my little words. And then at the end of the month, I put together a little writing vlog of all my process. And it's really fun to see and remember, really, oh, I did have a lot. I did work on it a lot this month. And like, that's fun. But I know deep down there, like I said, cannot make that happen overnight. Like, I'm just not going to magically have a book. And so, whenever it comes to YouTube, though, things can happen overnight. And the things that can happen overnight are completely out of my control. And so there's this level there where I can kind of constantly be thinking like, well, what if this is the video? What if this is the time? What if this is when it happens? Like, I'm so excited. I'm so ready. I've been working so hard for so long, you know? And so those two things do feel, it's interesting to even note that out loud, that reaching for writing and reaching for YouTube are still even different reachings. But anyway, in January, I realized all this and want to move into February with this energy of grounding before I start my day. Basically, is kind of my goal is to really ground in what exactly do I need to do today that puts me exactly in today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not feeling like I should be doing something else all the time, or am not doing enough. If only I got this thumbnail right. If only I got this other thing right. You know? Like, I'm just sort of done with that thinking. And so in February, my daily things are writing, or at least reading a little bit of the last chapter of my book, taking a walk, which, oh my gosh, I took a walk yesterday, kind of like I didn't mean to, but we really needed to get out of the neighborhood. I didn't want to go, but my partner was willing to go as long as this one big hill in our neighborhood was clear, because the rest of our neighborhood is still completely ice and snow on the roads, like no clearing. And he took a walk to go check that out, and it had been like a little bit, and I was like, well, I'll go check on him, but our neighborhood's a circle, so he had just decided to walk the entirety of the circle. And so you can imagine that we did not meet up, and I just ended up going on this long walk. But it was actually really beautiful. It was really sunny, but nothing's melting yet because it's still only 20 degrees. So it was also really cold, but I did bundle up properly. And man, am I so sore from that walk. But we have a treadmill, so when I say daily walk, I mean mostly the treadmill. But honestly, if the sun's out and it doesn't feel as bad like it did yesterday, I really want to go on outside walks, even though it's winter and yucky. Like, it's just good for me. The house air can get so stagnant when it's this cold because you're not opening the windows, you're not opening you're trying to keep all the heat in. So anyway, daily walk to sort of ground myself. And then I've been doing these, like, activations, which is kind of like a guided meditation, but you're not really meditating and you don't really have to be like sitting still and breathing. You can be on a walk, you can be cleaning. It's just sort of like perspective shifts, and I really like them. And that's sort of my daily goals for February, to get in this energy of like helping me not feel like I need to be reaching to be better at something. And something I also recognized this morning, I really enjoy, I guess you could call it parts work. I'm not really sure. I've not read any parts work books, or I'm just kind of familiar with the concept, but I'm not going to claim that this is what this is because I don't really know what parts work is. But basically, I like to talk to my inner critic. I have my creative self. I have my editor self, which is still pretty creative. Editing is creative, but it's a different creative energy than the creation itself, than the filming. So I have like my filming self, my editing self, my inner critic, my ego, my visionary, my excitement, my hope. Like, they're all talking, right? They're all in this one big long conversation of my life. And it can be really helpful to like pinpoint who they are and what they're actually trying to say, and go from there. And I realized that I was confusing my inner critic with a different voice of improvement. I was kind of combining improvement and inner critic. The inner critic just wants you to improve and get better and be better long term and learn skills and do all this new stuff. And I kind of realized, like, yeah, inner critic, like, that's cool, but that's not actually like inner critic. That's this other improvement voice. And so I kind of like, I don't know, realized that a little bit this morning. And I think I'll have to be working mentally a little bit to sort of separate those two now, as I am working for creativity to be my main source of abundance and income. Yeah, it's just been interesting to sort of, I don't know, as soon as you really want to go for it, like I explained the whole visionary, the people, the ego a little bit better in my visionary meeting vlog, which I posted on my vlog channel if you haven't checked that out yet. So there's a little bit more of an explanation on that, but I also have a like deciding to go all in on YouTube video on there. And it's been interesting ever since posting that video and like really claiming that for myself in general, because it has been something that I have wanted for a long time. I don't think I deeply like claimed for a long time for fear of like not succeeding, basically. I don't know. It activates such an interesting thing in your body whenever you're like, oh, I'm going after a goal, and I'm telling the world that I'm going after a goal, and now the world knows. And telling yourself the story of that the world cares, and the world cares if you've succeeded or failed, because that's not really true. I don't really think that the world cares all that much. It's just for you. And so I kind of started February with that energy. It kind of felt like a nervous energy, but an exciting energy. And I just wanted the nervous energy to go away. And then I sort of just realized, like, no, the nervous energy is there because I do care, and it's okay to care. And we can learn how to work with this and, you know, alchemize this in some way. And I mean, I think part of that caring is like even here, like I was saying at the beginning, trying to limit myself from being multifaceted and limit myself from talking meta. Like, I just have different moods every day, and that's okay. It's okay to feel different day to day, or like change your mind, or yeah, it's okay. Like, that's what I'm realizing is it's okay to continue figuring out how something works for you and how you like something at all. Like, I will sometimes 100% for sure just want to come on here and have a little antidote and I can't say that word. Have a little story about something. Um and it be fun, and sometimes I'm going to just want to talk about astrology, and sometimes I'm going to want to deep dive into what my little activation told me today. You know what I mean? And like, I'm just done like trying to limit myself in any way, is what I've been learning. And that was just what I was feeling today. So, this is what we are talking about. And we are finally completing this new portion of this track. This took a lot longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. We did it. We need to clean up some unused tracks now, but we've got our little train going for today. And then the next Islands and Trains, I'll start to build the little town on the big island, which will be really fun and exciting. But something else that came through that I thought was just interesting as like kind of a limiting belief was the belief that you are not important if your life is easy, or it's not a great story to live with ease and abundance. And that's why, we are addicted to feeling like we need to struggle in order to be important or valued. And yeah, that's something that I'm going to sit on a little bit more probably. We can talk about it later. But I just thought that was really interesting. I'd never like heard it come through that way specifically, or realized, ooh, the roller coaster. Oh, I'm so excited for this. This is the most fun part. Let's just have a moment of appreciation. How fun. But yeah, that was just what's on my heart today. And I just want to come at you all with whatever is real on my heart in the day to day. And I appreciate any acceptance that is met there, basically. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. And the cliffside, could you imagine actually riding this train on a cliffside over a lake or an ocean? Like, I would die. It'd be so fun. I would write so many books just sitting on this train. Well, I actually probably couldn't do that. I would get motion sickness trying to write on a moving vehicle, but maybe I could just audio dictate 1,000 books while riding on a train. that goes just between beautiful little islands and lakes and cliff sides. But yeah, okay, so this main island is going to be the town, and I am so excited to build out the little town. And of course, the little lonely farmer on the other side of the island is the one that like produces and supplies all the food because he has all those fields. But he just wants to be a loner with all of his animals, and I don't know. I think I'd be a loner up there with all the animals and just like come into town.